Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well today. In this video, we're going to go through a full tutorial on how to jailbreak the PS5 using the Y2JB method, even if your PS5 has never been jailbroken before. I'm also going to show you how to install the autoloader so that in the next jailbreak process, you won't need a computer anymore. And at the very end, I'll also show you how to run your PS4 and PS5 backup games. All right. Without wasting any more time, let's jump straight into the tutorial. Before we continue, the fastest way to jailbreak your PS5 using this method is simply to restore a PS5 backup from someone who has already set everything up. After restoring, your PS5 will immediately be able to run the jailbreak through the YouTube app without any additional setup. But the purpose of this tutorial is for those of you who want to understand all the steps from the very beginning, so this video is perfect for beginners. In this tutorial, I'm also using the original files from the creator of this method, Gazine, and these files haven't been modified. All right, now let's go through everything step by step. The first thing you need to do is check your firmware version to make sure it's compatible with the Y2JB method. To do that, go to Settings, System Software, and then Console Information. The PS5 firmware version is the 4 digits after the first dash. As you can see here, mine is version 8.00. So my PS5 is included in the list of versions that can be jailbroken using Y2JB, because Y2JB works on firmwares 4.03 all the way up to 10.01. But keep in mind, if you want to play backup games, that's only possible up to firmware 9.60, since the cusstuff and A2hen payloads only work up to that version. After confirming that your PS5 is compatible, go back to the System Software menu and select System Software Update and Settings. Then, make sure both of the options here are turned off. Download update files automatically and install update files automatically. This is to prevent your PS5 from updating on its own when you connect to the internet. This part is extremely important because if your PS5 updates to the latest firmware while that firmware hasn't been jailbroken yet, then you won't be able to jailbreak your console and you'll have to wait again, possibly for a long time until that firmware gets supported. The next step is to create a full backup of your PS5 data, because during the jailbreak process, we're going to restore a PS5 backup that we'll download later from the Y2JB GitHub page. Restoring that backup will erase everything on your PS5, including installed games, save data, and all other content. So if you still need your data, especially your save files, make sure to back them up first. To do the backup, prepare a flash drive and plug it into your computer. Make sure it's formatted to exFAT. To check, right-click on the drive, select Properties, and check the file system. If it's not exFAT, you'll need to format it. Just right-click the flash drive again, choose Format, select exFAT as the file system, and then continue. Before formatting, make sure there are no important files in the flash drive, because formatting will erase everything.
Once your flash drive is ready, eject it from the PC and plug it into your PS5. Still in the System Software menu, select Backup and Restore at the bottom. Then choose Backup your PS5 and press Yes. Here, tick the data you want to back up. I'm only backing up my saved data and screenshots to speed up the process, and because in my opinion, save files are the most important. Games and apps can be reinstalled later, but it's totally up to you. Just make sure your flash drive has enough space. After selecting the data, choose Next. Then choose Backup to start the process. During the backup, your PS5 will restart at least twice. Just wait until the console turns back on. Once the backup is complete, choose OK, and your PS5 will restart for the second time. Alright, the PS5 is back on and the backup process is done. Now remove the flash drive from the PS5 and plug it back into your computer. You'll see a PS5 folder on the flash drive containing your backup data. Copy this PS5 folder to your computer or somewhere safe just in case you need it later. After that, go ahead and delete the PS5 folder from the flash drive. Alright, at this point all the preparation steps are done. Next, we're going to download all the files we need for the upcoming steps. The first one is the original Y2JB backup file from Gazine's GitHub page. To download it, click on the Releases section here. At the time I'm making this video, the latest version is 1.2.1. Scroll down a bit, and what we need to download is Y2JB-backup-1.2.1.zip. Next, we're also going to download the autoloader project from GitHub. Here, download the project as a zip file. Just click Code, then download zip. After that, download the ETA hen payload. We need ETA hen for the autoloader feature later. On the official GitHub, the version that fully supports case stuff only goes up to firmware 8.20. If your firmware is higher than that, you can download the tester version from the PKG Zone Discord, where it already supports firmware up to 9.60. To download it, join the PKG Zone Discord server using the link in the description, then go to the ETA hen public test server. After that, click on the pinned message and you'll find the latest test version of ETA hen. Just click to download it. Since my firmware is 8.00, I'll download the one from the official GitHub. Lastly, we need a payload injector. You can use whichever app you want, but here I'm using Master9's tool because it already comes with all the payloads we need, including laps and ETA hen, so we don't need to download or load them manually. Just click and inject. Alright, everything has been downloaded and extracted. The first thing we'll do is restore the Y2JB backup to our PS5. Make sure the flash drive is still plugged in, then open the extracted folder from the Y2JB backup and copy the PS5 folder inside it to the root of the flash drive. Once that's done, eject the flash drive and plug it into your PS5. Now let's go back to the PS5. Back in the settings menu, go to System, then System Software. Open Backup and Restore again. This time, select Restore your PS5. As you can see, the Y2JB backup by Gazine is detected here. Just go ahead and select it. Choose Restore to start the Y2JB backup restoration process, then select Yes to confirm the process. During the restore process, your PS5 will restart twice. Alright, the restore process is complete. Let's go back to the PS5 home screen. You'll notice that in the Media tab, there's now a YouTube icon. This is the special YouTube app that contains the script needed for the jailbreak process. Next, we need to connect the PS5 to the same network as a computer will use to inject payloads. Open Settings, go to Network, then select Settings. Make sure Connect to the Internet is enabled, then select Setup Connection. Here, we need to manually configure the network connection. The goal is to make sure the PS5 only connects to your local network, not the actual internet. This prevents the PS5 from checking for updates on any installed apps, including YouTube. Even though the Y2JB backup already includes a YouTube update blocker, this is still an important step. To set up the connection manually, scroll down and choose Setup Manually. Select your connection type, in my case I'm using Wi-Fi. Then choose Enter Manually. Now we fill in the fields. Starting from the top, for SSID, type the name of your Wi-Fi network. For security method, choose WPA Personal since that's the most commonly used. Then enter your Wi-Fi password. For IP address and DHCP hostname, leave them at their default settings. The most important part is the DNS settings. Change this to manual. Then set the primary DNS to 127.0.0.2. When everything is filled in, choose Done. Wait for the connection process to finish. You'll get a message saying can't connect to the internet. Just ignore it because that's exactly what we want. Select OK. Next, we need to note down the PS5's IP address because we're going to need it later. To check it, go back to Settings, then System, then System Software. Open Console Information. Here you can see the IP address assigned to your PS5. Go ahead and write it down or just remember it. Now go ahead and launch the YouTube app and the exploit script will start running automatically. After that, you'll see a notification for the remote.js loader listening on port 50,000. This means the PS5 is now ready to receive payload injections from the computer, so now we switch over to the PC. Before continuing, make sure your computer already has Python installed. If you don't have it yet, just Google how to install Python, it's very easy. Next, we run the payload sender application. Here I'm using the Y2JB remote.js loader. Enter your PS5's IP address and port 50,000. For the first injection, set the type of service to Python. The first payload we're going to inject is laps, so just click the laps button. You can see the process running on the PS5. Alright, that's done. Next, we inject the elf loader payload, because after this, we'll continue by injecting an elf type payload, which is ETA hen. Go ahead and click the elf loader button. Once it finishes, the elf loader will activate on port 9021. Now go back to the PS5 and close the YouTube app completely. The last payload we inject is ETA hen, which is the final step to fully jailbreak the PS5. Before clicking it, change the port to 9021, also change the type of service to SOCAT, and again, make sure the YouTube app on the PS5 is already closed. If everything's ready, click the ETA hen button. Wait a few seconds and you'll see another notification appear on the PS5. As you can see, the ETA hen payload has successfully executed. Also pay attention to the FTP port shown here. We'll be using this for the Y2JB autoloader setup. At this point, your PS5 is fully jailbroken. If you go into settings, scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll now see the ETA hen toolbox menu. There's a lot you can do here, including installing PS4 backup games, homebrew apps, and also one of the methods to run PS5 backup games. But before we continue to that part, we'll first set up the Y2JB autoloader. The purpose of the autoloader is so that you can perform the complete jailbreak on your PS5 simply by launching the YouTube app without needing to manually inject multiple payloads from the computer like we just did. This makes the jailbreak process much faster and simpler. Alright, so now let's go back to the computer. First, open the folder you extracted from the Y2JB autoloader project. Keep going deeper into the folders until you find the PS5 autoloader folder. Once you locate it, open that folder. Inside, you'll see two files, autoload.txt and payload FTP server. This is where we configure which payload we want to autoload. By default, it's set to autoload the FTP server payload included here. We're going to replace that with the payload we actually want to autoload, which is ETA hen. So I'll delete the FTP server payload and then copy the ETA hen payload that we downloaded earlier into this folder. Next, we need to edit the autoload.txt file so the system knows which payload to autoload. Open the file, scroll to the very bottom, and delete the previous FTP server file name. Replace it with the exact file name of your ETA hen payload. Make sure the name matches perfectly, including uppercase and lowercase letters, and don't forget the extension. Once you're done, save the file. Alright, now we're ready to transfer this project to the PS5. Before that, go back to your PS5 and launch the YouTube app again. This is necessary so that the YouTube app's folder ID becomes visible in the FTP client, since we'll be transferring the files into that directory. Once YouTube is running, go back to the computer. Open your FTP client. I'm using FileZilla here. Enter your PS5's IP address into the host field. Leave the username and password blank. For the port, enter 1337, which is the FTP port we saw earlier from the ETA hen payload. Then click Quick Connect. Once inside the PS5's internal storage, open the MNT folder, then Sandbox, and scroll down until you find the YouTube app's folder ID, which is PSSA 01650. It's usually near the bottom. Right-click the Download 0 folder and choose File Permissions. The menu might look cut off like mine, but it's always the last option.
Make sure the numeric value is set to 777. If it's not, change it. Then check Recurse into subdirectories and select Apply to all files and subdirectory. Click OK. This step is also very important. Don't skip it. Next, open the Download 0 folder. Inside, you'll see a folder named Cache. This is where we will upload the entire autoloader project, starting with its own cache folder. So open the Y2JB autoloader project on your computer, navigate into the PS5 autoloader folder, and find the cache folder. Then drag or upload that cache folder into the PS5 directory. Once again, make sure your FTP client is currently inside the folder where the PS5's cache folder is located, just like this. When the overwrite warning window appears, choose Overwrite, then tick Always Uses Action and click OK. Wait for the upload to finish. Make sure everything transfers successfully and that nothing appears in Failed Transfer. Once everything looks good, disconnect the FTP connection from your computer. Now let's switch back to the PS5. First, close the YouTube app. Then disconnect the network connection on your PS5. We're going to test everything while the PS5 is completely offline. After that, restart the PS5. We're going to try the whole process starting from a fully non-jailbroken state. Alright, the PS5 has restarted, so let's open YouTube to trigger the full jailbreak process. As you can see, the jailbreak starts running and automatically continues by loading the payloads. First Laps, then the ELF loader, and finally the ITA hand payload. You'll also notice that the YouTube app closes automatically afterward. Now, keep in mind that the jailbreak won't always work perfectly every single time. Sometimes your PS5 might experience a kernel panic and shut itself off, or only some of the payloads might load successfully while ITA hen fails to execute. If that happens, simply restart your PS5 and try launching YouTube again to rerun the jailbreak. To confirm the jailbreak was successful, we can go back into the settings menu. Just like before, if you scroll all the way down, you should see the ITA hand toolbox menu. If that's there, the jailbreak worked. Alright, that means the Y2JB autoloader setup is now complete. Next, we're going to move on to how to install and run PS4 and PS5 backup games. So now let's switch back to the computer. Alright, first, let's talk about the differences between PS4 and PS5 backup games, because both formats are completely different. For PS4 backup files, the format is PKG. These PKG files can be installed directly through the package installer menu inside the ITA hen toolbox. For one game title, you'll usually have at least two files, the base game and the game update. Some titles may have more than two PKG files if the game includes DLC. For example, here I have a backup of CTR, which includes the base game, the update, and one DLC. To install them, simply copy all the PKG files to the root directory of your flash drive. Make sure your flash drive is formatted as exFAT, just like earlier, so that it can be detected properly on the PS5. That covers the PS4 backup format. Now let's move on to PS5 backup games. Unlike PS4, PS5 backups come in a folder format, and inside that folder, you'll find extracted files and subfolders. It's similar to how PS3 backups looked back in the day. To run a PS5 backup game, you just copy the entire backup folder to your flash drive, and the game can be launched directly from there without any installation, since PS5 backup games cannot be installed like PKG files. If you want to play PS5 backup games smoothly, it's highly recommended to use an SSD because of the high transfer speed. If you use a regular HDD, you might experience FPS drops during gameplay, or sometimes the image may stutter while playing. Another thing to pay attention to is the USB port you use. Make sure to plug your SSD into one of the PS5's super speed USB ports. You can check the specific port locations for each PS5 model in the image shown here. Next, we're still talking about PS5 backup games. To run PS5 backups, there are a few different methods you can use. The first method is through a built-in feature inside the Edihen toolbox called WebMAN. The second method is by using a game manager application such as ItemzFlow. If you choose to use WebMAN, then your PS5 backup files must be placed in a specific folder structure, which I'll show you in a moment. Meanwhile, if you prefer using ItemzFlow, you can place your backup game folders anywhere you like, because ItemzFlow will scan for them automatically to detect where your backups are stored. All right, now let's practice. I'll be using a few games as examples. One of the PS5 backup games will be launched using WebMAN. To do that, we first need to create the required folder structure. In the root of your SSD or flash drive, create a folder named Edihen. With hen, all is capital letters. It has to be typed exactly like this because it is case sensitive. Inside that folder, create another folder named Games using all lowercase letters. This is where you place your PS5 backup game folder for WebMAN. As for the other PS5 backup games, I'll place them directly in the root of the flash drive or SSD because we will launch those through the game manager application. So now, let's download the ItemzFlow game manager as well. I already have the PKG file here, so I'll copy it to the flash drive too. Everything is ready, so let's eject the flash drive from the computer and plug it into the PS5. Make sure the jailbreak is already active. Now go to the settings menu, open Edihen toolbox, and choose package installer. Here you can see both the PS4 backup PKG files and the ItemzFlow game manager PKG file. Let's install all of them at once by selecting Install All and wait for the installation to finish. All right, everything is installed, so let's go back to the PS5 home screen on the Game tab. As you can see, the PS4 backup and the ItemzFlow app are now displayed. First, let's try launching the PS4 backup game. And as you can see, the game runs perfectly fine. No issues at all, so let's close that. Now, let's test the PS5 backup game. Like I mentioned earlier, you can run PS5 backups in two ways, using WebMAN or using the ItemzFlow application. First, let's try launching the game using WebMAN. Since WebMAN is a built-in feature of Edihen, we just need to go into the Edihen toolbox from the settings menu, scroll down, and select PS5 WebMAN games. As you can see here, it only shows one game, the one we copied earlier into the Edihen games folder. Any PS5 backup that isn't inside that exact folder structure will not be detected here. So even if your flash drive contains multiple PS5 game backups, only the ones inside that exact folder structure will appear here. All right, let's try launching the game. And as you can see, the game runs smoothly with no issues at all. Running a PS5 backup through WebMAN works perfectly fine. Let's close the game.
Now let's try launching PS5 backup games using the ItemzFlow game manager. Go ahead and open the ItemzFlow app. Select OK when the prompt appears. As you can see, there are still no PS5 backup games showing, only PS4 games and a few applications. Since this is the first time we're using ItemzFlow, we need to perform a scan so the app can detect all PS5 backup folders on your SSD or flash drive. To scan for games, open Cover PS5 app, then choose Scan for Apps. ItemzFlow will scan the entire contents of your USB storage. And here are the scan results. You can see several games detected. Select Yes, then choose OK to confirm. Now let's return to the ItemzFlow home screen. As you can see, several PS5 game covers are now displayed, including the game we previously launched through WebMAN. This is one of the advantages of ItemzFlow. It can detect PS5 backup games no matter where the folders are located on your flash drive or SSD. All right, now let's try launching one of the games from ItemzFlow. And as you can see, the game also runs without any issues. Let's close it. Another great advantage of ItemzFlow is that the games you scanned will also appear directly on the main PS5 home screen. That means you can launch them straight from there without opening ItemzFlow again. Let's try launching one of the games from the home screen. And as you can see, the game runs perfectly. Alright guys, that wraps up our complete walkthrough from setting up the Y2JB autoloader, running the full jailbreak, all the way to installing and playing both PS4 and PS5 backup games using WebMAN and ItemzFlow. Hopefully everything worked smoothly on your end, and now you can enjoy your games directly from your USB drive or SSD without any issues. If this tutorial helped you out, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future guides and updates. So stay tuned. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.